Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be going over some stuff that we're going to do to get this engine together. Little backstory, we got a 2001 Ford Mustang Bullitt. They made like 5,576 of these or something, somewhere around there. Mine's 3756, I believe. I'll go back and edit that if I need to later. But original story with this car is, bought this car from a gentleman local to me, and it had a Vortec supercharger on it, Vortec V2 supercharger, and MMR short block. And as many of you know, should know that MMR did not have the greatest reputation for building takeout short blocks. Went to go ahead and build another engine for it, and I lost some parts. Long story, I can explain that later. But anyway, I ended up with a 1995 Mark 8, and I don't know if you guys know this, but the Mark 8s came with these aluminum Texas blocks. They're known to hold high amounts of horsepower. They weigh like 100 pounds less than your traditional cast iron block. This engine, I already went to machine shop, got new freeze plugs put in. Obviously we have some ARP studs here. We have some ARP side bolts. Checked for the align hone. Checked to be align honed and said it was good. They didn't have to do that. Balanced the rotating assembly. Checked the clearances, everything. Polished the crank. Did all kinds of stuff. These are our K1 rods that we're going to be using. Jordan at MHS actually recommended them for me. I'm planning on making like 700 wheel horse on E85, and I guess these are the exact same thing, the Molnar rods. So went ahead with this route. They're like 700 bucks, I think. Here we have these are diamond 2-valve pistons. They have some pretty good valve reliefs in them. It's just a good American company. They're located right in Michigan, I believe. These also have a very good thickness between this top ring here and this valve relief. There's lots and lots of top ring land there, so you can push a lot of boost, a lot of power with these. So they're also very thick. Where the wrist pin goes in here, the skirts are nice. They got a nice coating on them. And as far as that goes, I went ahead and got the upgraded wrist pins. These are 200 wall wrist pins. They say once you start pushing big power, you can start to see these actually bend from going up and down with power. So it was 200 bucks for those. Went ahead and got that. We have our rod bearings here. These are King Racing rod bearings. We got our ARP studs here. Those are already open because they used it to use it on with the torque plate. And here, these are the side bolts. Right here is a 2003 0304 Cobra crank. Supposedly they're the same in all the Cobras, forged steel, and obviously you got your 8 bolts in the back here. The reason I went with this crank is it was local. Supposedly it had like 30,000 miles on it. It's in great condition. It's never been turned. That was kind of what I was shooting for when I picked up a crank for this, is I wanted one that had never been touched or messed with or nothing. Not to say that a 6-bolt, I mean, obviously it's forged steel, so it's going to be better than your cast crank. The main difference in the cast crank is it doesn't have these counterweights in the center here, and they say that the cast cranks can crack with RPM, but I'm putting a lot of money in this car. I really don't want to have to, think back and, oh man, I wish I would have just put a forged crank in it. So we went ahead and just did that. And here's some specialty tools I got. I got this special vise. It's an aluminum vise for the rods, so I don't mar them up, to check the rod bolt stretch on them. This is a rod bolt stretch gauge. Got some engine assembly grease. I forget who it's from. I don't know. But that's what Jordan at MHS uses, so I figure that's what I use. And then I got some diamond file tips here to file down the rings, make sure there's no burrs in them. I still need to get a ring grinder so I can grind them down when I go to check the cylinders here. When I go to check the cylinder bores here when I put the rings in for the pistons. But we're all honed up here, square deck or something, so it's perfectly flat now. A lot of times a block from the factory will not be flat, so it's important to do that, especially when you're running higher horsepower. But I know when you run the 2-valve intake manifold on here, you have to cut these bosses off here for the knock sensors on the 4-valve. And also, I guess I could go over some of the other stuff. Over here we got our ported Bullitt intake manifold. I matched it. You'll see the valve covers and the timing cover and stuff. But basically got this ported by a local guy in Rolling Prairie. I believe his name is Kyle McQueen. We got ID1000 injectors. I had to switch the plugs over, but I'm actually going to be running a Holley Terminator X when I get this thing going. So I'll just have to make sure I switch those over for that harness. It's got a return style fuel system in it and big Aeromotive fuel rails. I had to modify these clips to so they'd fit on this Bullitt intake manifold. Got a charge pipe here, exhaust, there's a throttle body, old wire harness. That's the back part of the exhaust. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to be running a bumper exit right at the front here. I always thought that was pretty cool, and it saves some weight on the car. Down here I have a promotion powertrain built 3650. It's got a 26-point input shaft. It's got different second gear engagement, stronger fourth gear. I guess the fourth gear can't handle the torque, like high torque applications. They'll blow up down the track or something. I do plan on getting an MGW shifter. That one's just on there for now. I have a Mishimoto radiator. I had to modify this fan. This is the factory fan. I had to modify it greatly for the turbo kit to fit, because this fan moves more CFM than any other aftermarket fan you can get, and I don't want to have to worry about this thing overheating. This is just a temporary filter that I ran before. I currently had the other car running for like 150 miles. Didn't even have it tuned, so that was just a temporary filter I had. This is a On3 turbo kit. It's the merge pipe and the 2 manifolds there. Precision 72-75 billet wheel. This may be holding me back a little bit on horsepower that I want to make, but I can always upgrade it to like 75, 76 or something. We'll see what happens, but I want to get the car together and see what it'll make on 93 and E85 and play around the flex fuel a little bit and stuff. But that's a powder coated black timing cover, and this is another merge pipe here. This is like a Moroso degas bottle. I wanted to fabricate something different so that it would clean the engine bay up a little bit, but I just got that for the time being because the old plastic one was really old looking, and I didn't want it cracking with the extra power and heat and stuff. But these cylinder heads here are Patriot Stage 2 cylinder heads. They got stainless steel valves. I'm debating on putting new valves in them because I hear there's a big difference, and I plan on putting new valves in because I really don't want to cheap out on this build. I don't want a valve at the top of the valve to break off or something. And I just ordered like normal stainless steel from Patriot, like Patriot brand stainless steel valves. But I'm pretty sure they're just like cheap Chinese ones or something. So I think we're going to change those. But I got trig flow valve covers, custom cams from MHS for my application. And I'm trying to think what else. Might as well show you the engine here, or engine bay. Might as well show you the engine bay here. We got a Team Z tubular K member, an On3 return style fuel system. It's got a triplet fuel hat. It's got 2 pumps in there now. I'm thinking when I go and redo all this stuff, I'm going to put a 3rd pump in it. It's got strange 10-way coilovers, Maximum Motorsports caster camber plates, my battery location in the rear, 31 spline axles in the rear, and you can see the intercooler down here, not that well, but you can see it here. It's mounted at an angle right now, but I think when I get it back together, I'm going to mount it straight. I think the reason I did that is because my kit didn't come with the power steering bracket, but because they're supposed to flatten it out and they never sent it to me or something, I don't remember. But it's been a while. This car's been sent for like 3 or 4 years. So the car is currently sitting on 315 35 17s in the rear, and I forget what the front is, like 295 275 40 17s. And I do have a set of street slicks for it right here for the 17-inch wheels to help get a little bit better traction, and we'll be putting that on when the time comes. But in the meantime, that's the update. I might throw this crankshaft in today. All right, we finished up for the day. I got my workbench covered up so no dust gets in there. I'm gonna put the car cover on tomorrow. A guy came by, I showed him the car. But anyway, we got the crank in, torqued the big and little studs for the main studs here, and we got to check our thrust bearing clearance, and if that's good to go, then I can start assembling the rods and pistons, and then that'll be the next thing to go in. But once again, thanks for watching. Give me a like and subscribe. Have a good day. Bye.